This week we're going to look at the difference between a softbox and an umbrella.
Adorama TV presents Digital Photography One-on-One, where we answer your questions. Here's your host, Mark Wallace.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Digital Photography One-on-One. I'm Mark Wallace. Well, this week we have a question from Paul in Fort Worth, Texas. And Paul asked, I can't really see the difference between an umbrella and a softbox. Can you shed some light on the subject? Well, Paul, absolutely no pun intended, but we will shed some light on the difference between a softbox and an umbrella. And actually, I'm going to throw in a standard reflector as well, so we can understand the quality of light, if it's hard light or soft light, and how the size of the light affects that. But we also want to talk about the control, if we can direct where that light falls, so how we control the light. It's different between a softbox and an umbrella. And also the shape of the light, because that's going to impact the specular highlights, or in other words, the reflections on shiny surfaces, and the catch lights in our portraits, our subject's eyes in portraits. And so let's zip over to the studio and take a look at all of this stuff. All right, well, I'm going to talk to you about the differences between all of these different light modifiers, specifically the quality of light, the shape of the light, and how we can control the light. And we'll figure out what the difference is between a softbox like this, a standard reflector like this guy right here, and the difference between something like an umbrella that's nice and small like that, and an umbrella that's gigantic like this. It looks like something that maybe Mary Poppins would use, this gigantic thing right here. And to help us do all of that, we've asked Sharon to join us. She's going to come out right now. Welcome to the show, Sharon. All right, let's start talking about hard and soft light and how light modifiers can affect the shadows. And we'll start by talking about this guy right here. Now, the size of the light really determines if light is hard or soft. So take a look at this. This is a standard reflector. If I put it next to Sharon here, notice that it is about the same size as her head. So what would happen is if I was illuminating her with this, then the light would hit her face and her body, and it wouldn't really be able to get around her. And so behind her, if we had her against a background, we would have a really well-defined shadow, because there's no light that can get back there, as opposed to if I had something that's really large like this umbrella. Take a look at this. So move on over. Yeah, look at that. It is much, much larger than Sharon, which means that the light can travel around her and then effectively kill the shadows behind her. So if we had that umbrella right here, that light would come around, and then we had our background right here, that light would be falling back here and eliminating those shadows, or at least diminishing their power. Now, it's much easier to see this, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring that light back out here. We're going to take this guy right here, and we're going to start putting different light modifiers on there. We're going to start with this standard reflector to show you the difference between hard light from this and much softer light from this umbrella. So let's start right now, right here on this white background. All right, well, Sharon is right here on our white background. We have a standard reflector on our light, and it is a very small light source, which will give us really hard light. And remember what I just described, that light's going to hit Sharon right here, and it's going to not be able to get around her, and that's going to give us a really well-defined shadow. You can't see that right now because our video lights are on. I'm going to take a picture so you can see this really clearly. And so look right at me. Love it, just like that. Good. Now look at that shadow. It is very well defined, which means we have hard light. Now, let me take one more picture. This is a really close-up of Sharon's face, so look right at me. And we're looking at the shadows that are falling on her face. Look at the shadow that's falling from her nose. It's very well defined. It's hard light, and sometimes that's great. If you want to shoot black and white photography, you want high contrast photography, we would move this light so we'd have a more pleasing location of that light. But the point is, small light source, hard light. Now look what happens when we change the standard reflector out with a small umbrella. It's a big difference. We're going to do that next. Well, for this setup, what I've done is I've added a small umbrella. We got rid of that standard reflector, and Kelsey's going to help me out in this setup. So remember, with that small reflector, we got a really hard shadow behind Sharon. Well, look what happens when I just shoot now with this small umbrella. So let me take a shot really quickly. Sharon, look right at me. It looks great. All right, now look at that shadow. It is very soft. Notice that there is a huge transition area where we go from shadow and it just sort of fades away to no shadow. Unlike the shot that we had before where it just like shadow and it stopped and then there was no shadow. So we have much softer light. So let me take a close picture of Sharon's face, and then you can see the difference there as well. Beautiful. Now look at the difference between this picture that has really soft light and the one we shot with the hard light with the small reflector. Notice the shadows around her nose are much, much different. We have much softer light. So our umbrella really, really helps us out. So what we want to do next is really soften the light, and what we're going to do is show you how moving a light closer to the subject changes its effective size. Now, effective size works like this. If you have a light source far away, it looks small, just like the sun far away to us just looks like a dot in the sky. But if you move that same light really close to your subject, well, it has more, it looks effectively larger. Just like if you hold your hand far away, it looks like a hand. If you move it really close, you can't see through it. And so moving our light closer to the subject allows more light to fall around the subject. It makes that light softer, and it really works well. So to show you this, what I'm going to do is grab this light really fast right here, move it much closer, just like that. And then we're going to meter this light really quickly. So Kelsey's going to meter the light for me.
16.
And it meters at 16. I'm going to get a little less light so we don't fry Sharon here. So try one more time.
8.
And we're at F8. Okay, I'm going to take a really quick shot right here. Beautiful. I love that. And notice this light is just beautiful and soft. It looks really, really terrific. And when we look at that light compared to the light that we had just before it, a couple of things are happening. One, the light is really, really soft. But notice the background. The background is darker. Why? Why is the background darker with the light closer? Well, it has to do with the inverse square law. Remember, we talked about that in some episodes previous. And so the inverse square law says when the light is closer to our subject, it falls off much faster. And so we got this really beautiful soft light, and we had light falling off to give us a nice gray background. Well, next up, I want to talk to you specifically about controlling how the light falls on our subject. And we're going to talk about the difference between an umbrella like this and a softbox. So let's do that next. All right, let's talk about the difference between a softbox, something that looks like this, and an umbrella. Well, an umbrella light is just sort of going everywhere. It's really soft light, but it's really just not controlled. And so light is falling on the floor and on the ceiling and all over the place. And at the softbox, because it has a solid back, it really directs where that light is going to go. So we get soft light from this, we get soft light from an umbrella, but it really has to do with two things. One is controlling how the light is coming out of your softbox and or umbrella, and how the light looks in specular highlights, specifically catch lights in our eyes. So first, let's talk about control. So what I want to do is I want to get a really nice portrait, close-up portrait of Sharon, and so I want to have this background fall completely into almost black, not quite black, but really, really dark gray. So first, let me take a picture with this setup. So we've already metered this. We're going to take a picture. Look right at me. That is beautiful. Okay, now when we look at this, we've got soft light. It looks great, but the background has way too much light. And that's because this little umbrella is lighting up not only our model, but the background as well. So I want to control that, and I can't with this because light is just spilling everywhere. I'm going to use a softbox next. We're going to meter it at the exact same intensity, but we'll show you how we can control that light from falling on the background. Well, now I have a small softbox on my light, and I have a lot more control of how this looks. And so first, let me take a picture and show you what the look is, and then I'm going to walk around and show you how I have accomplished this, because there's some tricks that you can use with the softbox that really make it amazing. So first, let me take a picture. So look right at me. Beautiful. I love that. Okay. Wow. That is pretty amazing. Notice how the light is not falling on the background. It's got that dark gray that I really want, and the light on Sharon is just soft and beautiful. It looks terrific. Well, I've actually controlled the light not only by having a softbox, which keeps it from falling on the background, but also I've cheated the light. So we're going to come over here to this camera, and I will show you what I've done. This is a softbox that I've placed horizontally. And so this light right here is hitting her hair, it's hitting her face, and then because I've placed this light in front of Sharon, it's actually wrapping around and lighting up all of her face. And so we get some light fall off on this side and bright light, so we get some contrast. But because we've placed her well behind this light is just wrapping around her. And because the sides are restricted, we're not getting a lot of light falling on this background. And so it's just a really beautiful look that we can get from a softbox. Now, the next thing I want to show you is how we can use a huge parabolic umbrella to let the light wrap around the photographer to get some really awesome looks. So we're going to do that next right here on our white background. Well, I've set up my large 7-foot parabolic umbrella. It's so large that you can't even see Sharon behind me. And so we're going to go over here to this camera. Matt's going to come around so we can see exactly how this is set up. Now, notice this is so large that I can actually stand right in front of it, and this light is going to go around me, and it will come over here and give us really nice soft light on Sharon. Now, there's a catch to this. So first, let me take a picture with me right here. I've already metered this, and so I'm going to take this shot. Beautiful. Oh, I love it. So it's really high key, really directional. We got a nice white background to look from. But the problem is, if I'm shooting, I need to make sure I'm close to this light so it can wrap around me. If I come close over here to our model, well, now I will be blocking the light, and it'll be really uncomfortable because it's so awkward that I'm this close. But let's just do it to show you what happens when I'm right here. You can see that I'm casting a huge shadow right on Sharon. So if you're shooting with a big parabolic umbrella, as long as you are either really close or out of the way of that light, you're going to be fine. In fact, I can stand to the side and shoot over here and get a really nice shot. I love that. Get some nice directional shot. I can go over here to this side. I can move around quite a bit, either close to the umbrella or just to the side. And I can just move around all day. I love this thing. It gives us really, really awesome light. Well, the next thing I want to show you is how the shape of the light changes the catch lights in our subject's eyes. So something round like this is going to give us a round catch light. Something square, it'll be square. So I shot some portraits earlier. I want to show you those really closely so you can see the differences. Let's talk about the shape of our light modifiers. Now, the shape really determines the catch lights in your subject's eyes, or the specular highlights, or the reflections on subjects that are reflective, like glass and chrome and things like that. And so what I did was I took a few pictures of Sharon, these really tight portraits, so we can see the reflections in her eyes. Those are called catch lights. Take a look. With a round umbrella, the catch lights are round. With a square softbox, you guessed it, we have a square catch light. And with a rectangular softbox, we have a rectangular catch light. So depending on the shape of the catch light, you need to choose the proper light modifier. Now, I personally like round catch lights because they look more like the sun, but some people like these square and rectangular catch lights because they look more comic book and anime. And so it's totally up to you. It's your own taste preference. And one of my favorite things to do is go look really close at movie posters and big, huge prints to see if I can spot what kind of light modifiers the photographer used just by looking at the catch lights. It's just sort of a fun thing to do. Well, that was a lot of fun. I love just hopping in the studio and trying different things out. And I think that's what you should do as well to really discover the difference between your softboxes and umbrellas. Try some of those things that we did. Try to shoot a portrait with a background and see if you can control the light. Now, there are things you can do with an umbrella. You can use flags or just things that block the light from falling everywhere. And you can put grids on softboxes to really even control that light even more than what we showed you. So there's a lot of options. And I wish we had time to really dive into light modifiers, because we could spend, I think, hours going through each individual light modifier, because some of the differences are just very, very subtle. And so one of my suggestions, if you have a rental house close by, rent some different light modifiers, large softboxes, huge umbrellas, small softboxes, hard reflectors, things like beauty dishes, and just see what you get, because the more you use them, the more you'll understand the differences between all of those things. Now, we've shown you some of this stuff in episodes past, and that's a great reason why you should subscribe to our channel right here on YouTube, or download your videos on iTunes. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you subscribe so that you get every single episode and you don't miss anything. And if you have missed a few things, then you can always zip right over to the Adorama Learning Center and all the videos we've made on digital photography one-on-one, as far as interviews on how they do that, product reviews, articles, just a ton of information at the Adorama Learning Center. So zip over there and check it out. Well, thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.
And to do all that, we're going to ask Sharon to come join us. So Sharon, come on out. She is here to help us out and talk to us about, you're not here to talk to us about anything. Sorry, get off of here. How we can control the light to make it directional or have it going everywhere, and also something else. Shape. Sorry. And to begin with, I want to talk to you a little bit about the quality of light, the control of the light, and if that light is, forgot what the third one is. What is it? Shape. I was trying.
Digital Photography One-on-One is written and produced by Snap Factory. For more information about our workshops, visit snapfactory.com.